Today, I'm becoming the world's greatest ventriloquist.
Thank you.
Ventriloquism is such a weird, bizarre art form that it has always fascinated me in some way or another, sometimes in a good way, and sometimes in a different way. I'm going to be taking a look at the public perception of ventriloquists. I'm going to be taking a look at some examples of ventriloquists, and then I'm going to use that to write my own routine, and I'm going to perform it at an open mic in 3 days. I have 3 days to become the world's greatest ventriloquist. To start, I think it's important that we look at the public perception of ventriloquists. They're mostly racist and serial killers. No, but really, the first thing you probably think of when you hear ventriloquist is either horror movie or Jeff Dunham, for better or worse. Let's see what the world's most well-known, third highest paid comedian and greatest ventriloquist is currently up to. He's probably doing some groundbreaking, really innovative comedy. Let's see what he's been up to recently.
I did not fall down going up the steps. I dropped my keys to the plane. I think. I don't remember. All I know is it hurt like hell.
Oh boy, Jeff Dunham, what are you doing, man? I love that Jeff Dunham is so lonely that he favorited this comment. Okay, so maybe Jeff Dunham hasn't evolved for the past forever. I personally don't like Jeff Dunham. He's not very funny and he's a little racist. If you're sitting there thinking,
Oh, okay, Snowflake, don't get so offended. It's just comedy.
First off, no, it's not. Comedy's funny. This is not that. Man, I don't care if you want to use race or stereotypes in your comedy. Either do it well or make a point with it. Otherwise, you're just being a semi-racist hack. I think it's important to talk about Jeff Dunham because he is the most famous ventriloquist alive. In fact, he's currently the third highest paid comedian. One more thing about Jeff Dunham. I found an AMA thread that he did on Reddit. And like 90% of the comments are just like, hey, Mr. Jeff, I got a question. You ever tried being funny? Moving on from the painfully unfunny puppet man, the general consensus is that ventriloquists are socially awkward people who use their puppets to say things they otherwise would not or could not say. But is this a fair representation? I don't know. I'm not a part of the community. I've been interested in sleight of hand intensive card magic for pretty much all of my life, and because there aren't a ton of vaudeville-esque performers anymore, ventriloquists just kind of got lumped in with magicians, so that's put me around quite a few ventriloquists. Some are good, some are bad, like really bad. Like you got booked to do 7 minutes, but then you ended up doing 40 minutes to a crowd that did not laugh the whole time kind of bad. That's a true story. But I've also seen some genuinely creative and pretty funny ventriloquists. So, to get a more accurate look at the community, I've set up an interview with up-and-coming ventriloquist Jeff Goltz. Hey, so you know how time does that thing where it's like time, and so it just kind of keeps going? Yeah, it's the day before the open mic. And I haven't even started writing an act or even learned the smallest bit of ventriloquism. But before we do that, I want to kind of sum up the interview for you because it ended up being like 2 hours worth of footage. First off, Jeff is a super nice and really funny guy. If you ever have a chance to see him, then you should definitely do it. When it comes to talking about the public perception of ventriloquism, he entirely agreed with me. And his stance was more or less, yeah, why wouldn't the public perception be that they're all crazy?
Doesn't it make a great story, though? Like a crazy ventriloquist. That's an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is performers overall are rather insane.
As soon as one of them are crazy, that's the only interesting one to talk about. You know, why bother talking about the other guys who are just doing a good job, making a good show?
So the moment one ventriloquist out of 30 really amazing ones, one good one is crazy. Oh, well, that's the fun one to talk about, obviously. So I don't blame the public perception of ventriloquism.
And as I suspected, when he talked about the community of ventriloquists and the reality of what ventriloquists are, it was really good. It was all positive. For the most part, it's just a tight-knit, really kind and supportive community.
Because the ventriloquist community, you have something that's very, very special. We support the youth, and we support people coming up, and I try to make it an exclusive but open group. I was not good, but I was passionate and I was self-critical. And because I was self-critical and I was passionate, they all were like, come at it.
He told me a story about how when he was a kid at a ventriloquist convention, he met Jeff Dunham, and he took him on his tour bus and showed him all the different tools, and he took him to the stage before the show, and then he gave him free tickets, and he was just all around a nice guy. And this doesn't really surprise me. As much as I don't really enjoy what Jeff Dunham does, I can't deny that he is incredibly skilled, and I'm not surprised to hear that he's a kind mentor or kind figure in the ventriloquist community. Everybody is super supportive and everybody's super kind, and they will sit down with you, and if you're interested and you put in hard work, they will spend time with you, and they will teach you and guide you and just be super helpful and nice. What I was really interested in, though, was to hear Jeff Golt's take on Jeff Dunham. Jeff Goltz brought up some interesting points about Dunham's characters relying on race. I'm not even going to try to paraphrase what Jeff Goltz had said because, again, I'm not really educated on the matter, so I'm going to let him do the talking. Plus, it's been a few days and I forgot.
I have the same opinion on Jeff as I do with Pepe Le Pew or with Speedy Gonzalez. It's a character. It's something separate from you. If they were all the same person as you, it doesn't help the routine. Like, you need some kind of bifurcation. The main people who get offended, it always comes down to Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. Why would Ahmed be offensive? Because it doesn't make sense to me why Ahmed would be offensive. And they're saying, well, it's stereotyping all Muslims. And I said, excuse me? If you think Muslim as like terrorist, that's the main problem right there. Because that's why we invaded Afghanistan. What's the biggest Muslim country? You wouldn't guess. It's Indonesia. I've talked to Muslim people about this too. Is it not okay to make fun of terrorists? Like, these are the people we don't like. Every religion, every sect has part of the group that you don't. Like Christians, a lot of them are like, no. Like Westboro Baptist Church, how dare you do these protests at funerals and all that stuff? They're like, how dare you? And if you want to see whether people who follow the faith of Islam and follow it to the T, to where they make their pilgrimage to Mecca and they follow the pillars of Islam, okay? Is you go watch his all around the world tour, his tour abroad. It was a Muslim country, and he was performing, and the men and women like separated. It was a whole thing. So it's a group of people who are, quote unquote, what they would say is the victim of this transgression, microaggression, or whatever they would say. And he killed, and that's their favorite character, by the way. That's the funniest part. That's their favorite character, because they think it's great to laugh at the terrorists. It might not attract white girls, college-age white girls, but for the most part, he's cross-demographical. Everyone loves him. But when it comes down to it, my main question, I go, have you ever been to a Jeff Dunham show? Have you ever seen his full act in context? Because when you do, it's very, 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 very hard to criticize him. It comes down to the audience. If the audience is okay with it and understands it right away, then totally fine. But if your audience is squirrely about it, because they've been taught a certain way and that's how they live, they're gonna respond in a certain way. And you just gotta accept that.
Okay, so it's the day before the open mic, and I still have not done anything as far as my act goes. But lucky for me, Jeff Goltz gave me some advice when it comes to creating my own ventriloquist act.
I believe it all starts with the character. If you have a good character, you come up with their name. What is this person like? What do they dislike? What do they do? What do they do for a living? When I'm not here, what is this person doing? What annoys them? What makes them happy? And once you know that character, you know how to respond.
So it's time to write the greatest ventriloquism act that has ever been written in one day, and then perform it tomorrow with no experience. Lucky for me, I sat down earlier this week and took a look at some creme de la crop, top of the field, the best of the best ventriloquist acts, and I kind of took what I could from them, some inspiration, some lessons, and hopefully that should help me. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you right now.
That's not very polite. You try being polite when you got a man's hand up your butt.
Now, before I start writing my act, I think it's important to, at least get the basics of ventriloquism down. So that way when I'm practicing it, or even when I'm writing it, I can play to the technical limitations that I will have, as well as, practice it as I go. Luckily for me, there's a special tutorial available on YouTube for how to learn ventriloquism by our favorite comedian, Jeff Dunham. I only have to do one thing before I can watch this video. All right, now I'm ready. And lucky for me, I happen to already have a ventriloquist dummy. Hello.
Hi everybody, Jeff Dunham.
2 number 9s.
Why are we here today, little Jeff?
Number 9 large.
Part of what makes the series so hard for me to watch is the fact that, well, yes, Jeff Dunham is incredibly skilled and a good teacher. He just uses his puppets to complement his own skill.
I cannot say Larry made matzo in Mexico without moving the... Hey, you're pretty good.
We get it. Okay, we're gonna start with the easy alphabet.
These are sounds that you can pronounce without using your lips.
Larry made matzo in Mexico. Yo, I'm actually getting that. What? Ooh. Let's go. I'm getting excited about ventriloquism. I'm gonna be real with you. I honestly don't think that sudtar. I haven't learned those letters yet. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think subpar ventriloquism is gonna be that hard to get away with as long as my writing is good. I think that the trick, at least for me, with all these letters is just softening it as much as you can, like taking off all of the hard edges, kind of leaving a gap between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. One other thing I'm noticing is that you really have to almost over enunciate the other letters in the word. Like for example, the word visit, I keep saying the, and if I don't make that S clear, then it won't matter if my V is clear, if that makes sense. And then plus, if I have the S be very clear, then they can understand what the word is, even if the V sound is a little muddy. I'm also starting to understand why ventriloquists lean so heavily on caricatures and accents. Those accents give them room to have certain letters that are less enunciated or less properly spoken. Because, if you have a southern drawl, that B, you can really soften. You don't have to go buh. Or that's not a good example. I can't really think of one, but trust me, it makes sense. Now I'm pretty much a master ventriloquist, and all that is left is for me to write my act and then perform it. Well, and practice it. We'll see how much of that I end up doing. After sitting down to write my act, I was finally ready to perform. The competition was looking fierce, but finally, it was my time to go. I killed it.
COVID's been in the news recently.
I decided that if I was going to be the best, I would have to put on my own show. I designed a flyer and began posting it everywhere.
Hey, how you feeling before the show? All right, man, it's time for you to get on the stage. Let's go. Okay.
All right, man, you got this.
Thank you.
Hey, you really got this.
All right. Yes. We need to address the elephant in the room. I'm not an elephant. Sorry. We need to address the alligator in the room. I'm a crocodile. Oh, yeah. We need to address the crocodile in the room. Yes. I am the world's greatest ventriloquist. So you said you weren't actually an alligator, that you're actually a crocodile. What's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? Well, crocodiles have curved snouts, and you can see the teeth when they close their mouth. What's a, oh. What's a ventriloquist's favorite band? Mumford and Sons. So COVID's been in the news recently. Yeah, it has. What's it like being an alligator during COVID? I'm a crocodile. It's kind of like, you ever seen a nest this big? So one of the weirdest parts of So I went to the store the other day. No, you didn't. Another time I was going to Florida, and oh, I'm from Florida. Oh, okay. And so one thing about Florida most people don't get is that it's actually not a part of the continental United States. What do you? Yeah. Guys, this is a train wreck. This is so bad. You guys think this is intentionally awkward? No, this is just me.
I hope you guys liked today's video. We put a lot of effort into it and a lot of effort in today's performance. And we just want to make sure you subscribe to Mac DeMar Earl. We hope that you liked today's video. We put a lot of effort into it, a lot of time, a lot of planning and stuff. And I just want to make sure, to subscribe to Mac Lockridge. And you, what did you think of tonight's performance?
It was on stage.
Were you recording? Yes. Did you get that long one? I was, yes.